I like to know what's going on. I've been following this Columbia, all the universities.
Did you see Biden spoke out on it?
What did he say?
You'd approve. He basically said, like, this is a cross section of the right to free speech and violence. And he's like, if you stop someone from going to class, if you're destroying property, that's not free speech. That's not okay.
They took 3 janitors hostage in New York.
That's not free speech. Yeah, I think it was only a couple minutes long, but I walked away being like, well, this doesn't change anything, but I agree with him.
Yeah, well, they're calling him Genocide Joe, so he doesn't have to worry about losing that part of his base anymore. The far left is not down with Joe Biden. I'm not saying they're down with Donald Trump either. Most of them can't vote and don't know how to. They're busy smoking doobies out there at
those
the Columbia parking lot.
Doobies.
You see those?
They need some. It's the opposite of that, honestly. Though those kids need to get high. They are way too high strung about this shit.
Did you see those frat kids who, I guess,
sent you the picture.
At UNC?
Yeah. They kept the American flag up, and then I saw a clip of like some fat pink-haired bitch coming up to him and being like, "You're insert a million buzzwords, fascist, racist, something phobe," and then one of the frat guys is like, "Lose some weight, you fat pig," and that's like every comment's like based, like this, and it's so funny to see the frat guys just partying, having a good time. Keeping the American
the gloves have been once you're standing under a flagpole being pelted with rocks and drinks and beer for an hour or so, you defending the American flag from your fellow students. Gloves are off with the verbal insults, I think, at that point. Yeah.
My wife and I were talking about it. We were just disgusted by people taking down the American flag and putting up a Palestinian one. It doesn't sit right with us.
Well, I liked seeing the NYPD come in and like fix that. Like taking down the Palestinian flag. I love here in Georgia, in Atlanta, at Emory University, they had a big whatever. That's where you might have seen I'm a professor of economics as she gets tossed to the ground, and they're like, "Look at them! They slammed her head on the concrete." Her head,
but only once.
No, not even once. Like she landed on the grass, and her head was over the concrete, and her face may have touched it, but like. You get slammed on the concrete, you don't wake up for a while. This crying, and they're like, "I don't care, ma'am. I'm a Georgia State Patrol member." They're locking them up. It's great. Really enjoy it. I get what they're trying to do. I don't like seeing Palestinian babies 4th-degree burns so that you can see them looking like a piece of meat in a window. Disgusting. I hate that that's happening. But as Woody always says when this comes around, he says they deserved it.
I watched a podcast of
especially the children.
The guy was from the right, but he's a never Trumper, so I don't know if you still consider him from the right. And anyway, he compared it to the Reddit subreddit Am I the Asshole? And he's like, everybody sucks here. It's really hard to defend what's happening to the Palestinians. It's really hard to defend what's happening to the Israelis. It's like everybody sucks here.
Yeah, and you can't file like walk a thin line between. You're almost not allowed to say, I don't want genocide in Palestine. I don't want babies burnt. I don't want aid workers directly targeted. That's the thing that gets me. That's the thing I really don't like. Because, look, if the Mexicans came over and did what they did to us in southern Texas, things would get rough. But they wouldn't be like this. Aid would be getting to the people. The children wouldn't be targeted. You wouldn't have people with their hands behind their back shot and thrown in a pit. We'd ship them to another country and let that happen over there, away from prying eyes.
That's what
I'm not saying
those for.
It's not that how evil they're being or how awful they're being. It's how flagrantly they're doing it. It's they know that there's no breaks for them, that nobody's going to tell them to stop.
America's going to keep giving them money.
But on the other hand, that October 7th thing was not cool. And whatever happens is directly because that happened. So know that as you suffer.
Biden, rightly, is taking a lot of heat for what's happening because we're still supporting Israel, right? So you are tacitly supporting all the bad stuff that
Seen the pier we're building?
Wait, there's more. Trump, on the other hand, his thing is like, well, what Israel's doing wrong, they have a PR problem. They need to put some better videos out there. And I'm like, you don't sound like Genocide Joe. We got Genocide Don over here too. Like he says Israel needs to finish the job.
Doesn't have the same ring to it.
I know it doesn't. But he needs to make sure that while Israel does this, they should take some videos of them like feeding puppies or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not a better.
All of our politicians just have a boner for Israel. Like they will say, not like, do you see this like making like laws about anti-Semitism now, where like it's like they get so riled up. Anything about like a Republican from Arkansas, they'll be like, hey, in the past few years, like 100,000 people have died of like overdoses that are preventable in your state, and he'll be like, that's a damn shame. And then someone on a college campus will be like, I don't like this Israel stuff. And he'll be like, we need to shut down the ability to speak. I'm doing Lindsey Graham, by the way. And we need Israel's my greatest ally, and I will be killed before I say anything otherwise. And it's like, why are you this vehement about a foreign country? Like this is ridiculous.
I hate all those hate crime laws. Like I don't know. Like if you say beat up a guy on the street just because you don't like his hairstyle, and you beat up another guy because he's Jewish or black or whatever, same penalty, same crime. There shouldn't be like a double down penalty because this guy's a protected group.
Agreed. Like even like I think my Missouri guy, Josh Hawley, has said stuff where he's like, I will always support Israel. You can never stop me from it. And it's like, whoa, you're an American elected official. You shouldn't be saying this about any foreign country. If like something is better for
like
Americans,
as a member of the IDF though, right? Like isn't that the guy that wore his IDF uniform?
I have no idea about
Is
that.
He?
Is he?
I mean,
really?
I'm asking. Like one of the congressmen wore his IDF uniform after one of the squad flew the Palestinian flag.
Oh, maybe it is him. I don't know. But like seeing American politicians be that vehement and being like, I will never stop supporting this foreign country is like, well, what the hell? Like that shouldn't be your number one priority. You're an American.
I only care about the war in Ukraine. That's the only one that's
cool. Old hat. That's old.
Dude,
hat.
I saw a video from that recently, and it's a Russian, and he's making like a TikTok video for Russians, and he's just like, send us pump shotguns. We need pump action shotguns. We're being cut apart from the sky. And I was like, oh, my calling.
There's a lot of discourse right now where like a lot of times when a big movie comes out, there's like a lot of like really stupid discourse online about it. Mm-hmm. And the stupid discourse about Dune right now is there are people that are they think that the Fremen are meant to represent Palestinians, and so they're like, but if you know where the story of Dune is going, that is not. Do they know
it's a book written in the 50s?
It does not reflect well on Palestinians were a thing in the 50s, but like Frank Herbert wrote this book to warn against like charismatic leaders. He said, like, for example, Frank Herbert was like a libertarian. He was like a libertarian, like climate advocate. So you could be that in the 70s. It was kind of like a hippie thing. But he said one time that he thought the most dangerous politician of the 20th century was John F. Kennedy, because everybody was just like so impressed by him, and they just kind of like went along, and then that led to Vietnam. But he wrote he wrote the Dune stuff specifically, like he had Mao and Stalin in mind when it came to Paul, and but yeah, so like. Yeah, there's just a bunch of stupid discourse about that movie right now.
They're not they can't just enjoy the movie.
Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
They got to try and launder their own like pet projects through the movie. They can't just be like, "This is cool."
Well, the same thing with Star Wars. That's the U.S. and Vietnam. That's the U.S. is the evil empire, and Luke Skywalker and the boys. They're the Vietnamese, and maybe the fucking Buddhist monk burned himself alive as the Jedi. I don't know. But that's what was going on then.
Well, he didn't self-immolate in protest of the war. Did you know that? He was protesting actually something else at the time.
He was protesting that he got caught releasing documents, and he was like, while I burn myself to avoid these document charges, I think I'll yell "Free Palestine."
Oh, yeah, that guy. Wait, he was.
No, he's talking about
the guy who self-immolated.
The other guy, the guy from 60.
Well, I was originally talking about Buddhist monks in Vietnam, but there was that guy, that Air Force guy, who self-immolated like a week or two ago,
and they were celebrating him. Like there were like this like bunch of like going back to TikTok, a bunch of like TikTok Zoomers were like lionizing this guy, and there was this whole thing where H3 was he was saying like. I don't think it's good to glamorize suicide, which I think is the correct take. I
I didn't even think of it from the suicide thing because it's a different kind of suicide. And like I think suicide when you're looking for a way out or whatever, you really need to like explore some other fucking options. It's an awful thing. However, suicide for an ideal is a different thing.
Dude, though, when you look through his old Reddit posts, this dude was fully radicalized, like full.
No shit.
Yeah, he burned himself alive.
There's a hot take.
Yeah, he was radical. I would say I'm going to go so far as to say too
I
radical.
got my hot take joke. All right.
maybe it's a bit redundant.
On fire tonight.
But he was he was just full on. Like, I guess it's just there's a lot of people where their whole political philosophy is centered on America bad, and then everything springs from that. And so you just become fully indoctrinated.
Was a hoax, Hutch?
What's up?
The Reddit thing is. Did you read
hoax.
Shortly following?
No. So there was one specific post that was doctored, but you can't like you can go to like archived. They deleted his account, so you can't go to Reddit itself to see it. But there's an archived version of his logs, and you can just read everything that he was typing, and it was just it was apparent that he was just fully I think he tacitly endorsed October 7th, for example.
Oh, a lot of people did.
I did see that.
Yeah, a lot of people like just straight up outwardly did it on Twitter. It was funny to see like random rappers get in trouble. Rappers politics is one of my new favorite things because it's a lot more right wing and radical than you'd ever think. Like I feel it's
right wing.
Lady rappers are super radical. They're celebrating October 7th and stuff like that. The male rappers, a lot of those dudes are right wing. A lot of those guys are Trump guys.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like there's obviously a lot of like free Palestine stuff with like younger artists right now.
Yeah.
I think like it's so tough because it's like obviously I think most people, I would assume all of you guys believe that the Palestinians deserve their own state and autonomy and dignity and all that, but sure. I don't, when I get up to the line of like Hamas good, that's where I'm like, no, I'm not with you on that one.
Well, that's absurd.
I mean, we've got so much land in the Midwest. I was thinking, Taylor, that we could get all them Palestinians and just give them like Wyoming. Like we're not doing shit up there. North Dakota.
Get to the flyover states.
It is not.
We even use those.
We'll flip a coin. We'll give them one of the Dakotas. Dude, problem? Do you know what a resource the Palestinian people could be? Look, now you don't realize this, Taylor, but first world nations are clamoring to get first pick at the Palestinian people. There's a lottery system right now, and a lucky few First Nations are going to get,
lucky few.
Taylor, it's said that if you take all the Hamas and put them in St. Louis, that the murder rate will go down.
I don't know. We could try it.
Did you guys see that this conflict and the discourse around it like ended the H3 Hassan?
I really don't know anything about those guys.
You're not plugged into them at all?
Not trying to stay away from that sort of thing.
What happened? Were they friends and now they're not? Or is the
opposite? They did a podcast together for, I want to say like 2 years. It's called The Leftovers. And it was a really interesting cultural, kind of like online cultural moment to watch that friendship sort of disintegrate over time, because it started to fray during like a conversation about like capitalism versus communism stuff. And what had happened was like H3 had, whether intentionally or unintentionally, cultivated through his partnership with Hassan, cultivated like a really left-wing audience, like a hammer and sickle, like we need to like destroy capital kind of like audience. And they started to like have this like disagreement where Ethan was like willing to say, there's plenty of flaws with capitalism. There's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of poverty, but I'm just not with you with the whole like Chinese kind of stuff, like or like full on hammer and sickle stuff. And then like a few months later, it culminated this fracture of their friendship with the Palestinian Israeli conflict, because Ethan is a dual citizen. Like he has citizenship in Israel. He has family in Israel.
His
and so
girl is Israeli, right? Also as dual. Yeah.
And so a lot of Ethan's audience were, I mean, some of them were just full on like actually celebrating October 7th, and so like Ethan was he was like saying like, look, I'm willing to tell you like what the Israelis have been doing to Palestinians for decades is wrong, and fuck Netanyahu and fuck the Likud party and fuck, you know, the Israeli Palestinian, the treatment of Palestinians. But Hamas, like what they did is fucking not good. And then like a bunch of the audience were calling him like a racist, genocidal, apartheid supporter. And dude,
they call us that all the time. That they they don't mean it.
That just means hello in online talk.
Yeah, that's just howdy.
That's how they bake.
It was an interesting kind of like, it was an interesting moment because it's just like,
for him to realize that's that's pretty awkward.
So there was a big schism in both of their audiences.
They don't do the podcast anymore, and it was just too much. Like there was like
free and open discussion had a limit for him. Yeah,
and that was a pretty big podcast. You know, so to like walk away from that was like pretty significant.
You think the audience divided them mostly?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the conflict and the audience. There's this thing called audience capture. Are you guys familiar with the concept of audience capture? It's like, so if you're like an influencer person and you cover politics or you cover cultural stuff, and you end up cultivating an audience over time, like you guys have cultivated kind of like a slightly more right-wing audience, I would say, right? And but like what happens with a lot of creators is they start to notice like, oh, well, I'll get, you know, you either consciously or unconsciously know, like I'm going to get more engagement if I frame certain things this way or that way. And so there ends up being this sort of like extremism pipeline that happens, and then it gets to a point where the creator, they're not really being authentic with their thoughts. They're relaying what they think their audience is going to want to hear. So you know,
Zach phrased it really well. Let me read it because it's interesting. Audience capture is a self-reinforcing feedback loop that involves telling one's audience what they want to hear and getting rewarded for it.
Yeah, and then they have to go further and further. So they're like, oh, when I'm talking about how awesome Stalin was, I get lots of likes and comments.
Well, see, people calling around that comrade. Though. We just always, one of us has to disagree, so that we're always on both sides. We literally are. It's very rarely that all three of us are like full. And
if we all agree, someone will jump on the other side.
Yeah, and then there'll be. If we all agree, there is at least a dissenting opinion from somebody. They're like, look, all right, I'll co-sign that. Yeah, but here's the thing about that. You need you have a little. You need disagreement.
Yeah, it's not so interesting to listen.
But here's where I think our show does it a lot in like the meanness, right? So this is a show where we laugh at people fighting cars and think it's hilarious at that mismatch, and then the audience turns that same spirit on us, and it's like, well, don't be surprised, fucknard.
Yeah, if we got hit in a parking lot, they would have no sympathy.
Exactly.
But that's because they're dumb. Because I don't think it's funny when people get hit by cars. I think it's funny when fat black women get mad at each other. One of them gets behind the wheel of her Intrepid, and the other one still continues to show the same amount of gusto in the physical altercation, despite the fact that said Intrepid is 4,200 pounds of killing machine.
Those women are like 0-31 against the Intrepid in all the videos Kyle sent me. Huge losing streak. I don't think they're going to turn the franchise around. The Intrepid is.
I have seen so many ladies get ran down by Chrysler 300s and it still tickles me to death. I love it because but I don't want to see just some poor pedestrian get hit like that thing in Nice, France, when that terrorist attack and people got ran over. That's not funny. That's horrific. But if you're like, you're not going to talk to me that way, what you going to do? Run me. And they're like,
right. Oh, did you get in your car? Well, I took off my high heel shoe. Let's go.
That's an actual video.
I'm familiar with this genre.
You haven't seen this? No. Basically, two people are in a conflict. Someone gets in a car, and the other person, rather than like running or taking cover behind a light pole, is like, I'm not afraid of your car. And I have a theory, like Kyle mentioned the race thing, but I think it's the sex thing. I think that sometimes women feel like they're not going to get hit because it doesn't happen to them very much. You know, the punch in the mouth is a very extreme, uncommon route to take for girls.
Yeah.
So I
get hit in the mouth in 10 minutes. I go out there and say the wrong shit. I promise you. I go to Circle K, it'll go down.
It could happen with your friend. Like if you mouth off the Scott enough, then, you know, it might go that way. I don't know.
Say the wrong thing.
Yeah. Man, your dog's a little bit.
Is that what's happening at Columbia University? They're too close to the truth.
That's right.
I don't know. I haven't been. You've been loving that. I haven't been following it.
I don't think you turn the news on. That's why you think I'm loving it, because it's like the biggest news story in the country that every university basically that holds 50 or 80,000 people or so They're rioting and protesting and taking up big areas and making the Jews go home and hide. And now the police have been called in a few of the universities. I know UT did it, Texas, and somewhere else. I don't think they've done it in New York. But they're coming and dragging them out and taking the tent cities down and such.
They're taking their tents.
Yeah.
Go back to your dorms, college kids.
Yeah.
Oh, they're putting them in a subsidized dorm at the local jail. They locked up a lot of people today.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, the protesters.
Yeah.
Who's right, Kyle? Who's doing the right thing?
No nuance. Pick a side.
Students have Hamas and as part of their groups. They talk about, from the river to the sea. They're flying Palestinian flags, chanting "Death to America," and their professors, tenured professors who are on the board that overlooks all the other professors, are espousing the exact same thing.
Still confused. Who's right?
Jewish. A Jew said something. He said, "Get out of here! I don't want you in my classroom." There's hearings going on, people going to jail, and there's like tens of thousands of
I missed what you said. A Jewish professor said, "Get out of here!" to the protesters.
No.
Or a left. No, a lefty professor was like, "Jews, get out of here."
Yeah, it was a Jewish student was kicked out of class
Yeah.
because they disagreed with something about anyone who supports Israel is a baby. The people who joined the IDF are baby killers. And what was the other thing? Something about Israel being evil and Zionist and genocidal. Oh, no. He defended October 7th. It was his comments on October 7th as well. He was like, it's amazing. We never thought anything like this could be achieved. It's so great. What an achievement. What an innovative solution to the Zionist machine. They made it sound like they had invented a new way to cook popcorn.
Paramotor, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going on this week. Yeah, it's pretty fun to watch. I like seeing people get pepper sprayed, so I'm always down for something like that.
I want to know, Ed, will you ever go so far down the automobile and mode of transportation pipeline that you're flying paramotors, Woody style?
No.
Smart man.
I'm going to stay down here where I can still fall off it and live. But it is a very fascinating hobby that you've got, Woody.
A friend of mine is still in the hospital right now. He his wing collapsed, and it was there's a thing you can do. Press the speed bar. It increases your risk, but you go a little bit faster. Okay. And if you're high enough, then it's not that dangerous. Like your wing might collapse, but you have a minute or two to either sort it out or throw a reserve parachute. I'm not saying it's no danger, but you can sort it out. But if you do that at 100 feet, then you don't get any second chances. And that was his situation. And the pictures of him in the hospital, dude, it's hilarious because his friend group, they all tease each other and razz each other constantly. So they're all, he's in the hospital with the neck brace on, the blood on his face. He's got the air tube up his nose, his arms in some sort of cast, and his friends are taking selfies with him, giant shit-eating grins. It's pretty funny.
I think that's your responsibility as a friend of somebody with a dangerous hobby. I think he's like, look what caught him.
Yeah,
he fall down the stairs. He brought this on himself. I mean,
that's true. It's funny that you pick fall down the stairs as like a totally unavoidable thing that happens to every adult.
It happens to everyone a couple times a month.
Ed doesn't know. Kyle falls down his stairs constantly. He's 37.
Is that code word for his abusive relationship, or is he actually falling down a flight of stairs?
Dude, name a bigger rivalry than Kyle and doorknobs. Just constant.
No, it's not a euphemism. He has.
I like to go down in a
very
cool
flexible
way.
joints.
No.
No?
Why would it be?
I don't know. I thought maybe your like gigantic toes or something got caught on the steps as you went up. But why are you on? Oh, I'm the idiot, right? I'm the idiot.
God, you're extra big. Is that why you fall
right now?
off?
Flex on you. Take that.
No, it's because I've talked about it before. It's because I go down them in a very I hit the very edge and sort of slide down and do this like fun sort of like slide down the stairs instead of walking down the stairs like a normal person. So I'm bringing it on myself. And then the other time it was just like dark and I couldn't see the stair. I thought there was another stair and there wasn't, or vice versa. Like I thought I was at the landing and there was another stair. And anyway, my foot just reached out and didn't have anything. And I just fell into the night.
Wait, is this pigeon-toed slide like your normal way to address a stair, or is just sometimes the mood takes you to extreme stairs?
Sometimes I'm just having fun. I like to, I'm a pretty happy guy, pretty go lucky. So I hop, skip, and jump up and down the stairs like a little child. I like that. I like to keep that that childishness in my life, keep me young, keep me vibrant.
My
keep me
feet
loving
hurt
each
right
day.
now from excessive jump roping, so I
See,
can't.
look at this. This guy's over here doing hopscotch. Come on.
What qualifies as excessive in the jump roping activity?
Well, when your feet hurt and you have to take ibuprofen to combat the limp, there you are.
How many did you do?
I was hoping to avoid this because it's not enough to warrant this kind of injury. Less than 10 minutes. Yeah.
You can lie online, Woody.
I rarely.
4 hours. 4 hours.
No, I think part of the problem is I do it in weightlifting shoes instead of something a little more bouncy, like you want to wear, because it's part of my routine.
That might be one of those exercises you're supposed to do barefoot, right?
Not the way I do it.
No.
That would hurt even
Fuck
more.
yourself up. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like so they say, squatting barefoot is like a lot of people do that.
I've heard that, but you never hit your
Indian
feet.
jump ropers.
Yeah, we're all woefully unequipped to critique Woody's jump roping. I can't remember the last time I jumped rope.
I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like jumping rope. Never have. I don't like any of the calisthenics, really. I hated all that shit we would do in jiu-jitsu when we do like the monkey crawls and shrimps and fucking crab walks. Oh my God. It's like, I'm paying for this. Let's get to work.
Oh, bear crawls?
If I'm paying for 2 hours and the first hour of it is gym. Like get the fuck out of here. Teach me something.
I used to like that stuff a little bit. You know what it was?
I read about that.
Did you see that guy who's on AIDS strike?
AIDS strike? Like what?
Yeah.
Like he's going to get AIDS?
I think he's a New York playwright. He's some sort of playwright. And he said, in honor of Palestine, until this horrible crisis ends, I will no longer be taking my immuno whatever medication. And if I remain off it long enough, I will develop full-blown AIDS. Right now, I just have HIV. So you guys got to solve this thing or I'm going to get AIDS. Israel weighed in and they said, hey, what are you going to
do? Brooklyn chapter.
So he gets AIDS. Hey, I don't know.
You see the guy got 217 COVID shots?
Was that a real story? I thought it was a
that
joke.
was a real. No, I think it was.
Did he turn into COVID?
AIDS,
yeah, he's the ultimate.
Palestine.
He has no regular blood left. It's all vaccine.
Yeah, 217 vaccines. And then scientists took an interest in him. They said that his COVID resistance level was equivalent to that of someone who took 3 shots. the other 214 were kind of a waste of time.
What was he getting them for?
You know,
oh, here we go. Oh, he has like a whole. He has a whole website. Oh man, he made all. Look at this.
Guy was getting like 3 vaccines in a day.
Yes. Holy shit.
Oh, this is the HIV guy. I thought.
He loves us so much he might die.
Can I say to the HIV guy, bitch, because we had that Air Force dude who set himself on fire. Okay, self-immolation is as hardcore as it gets. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody burn themselves alive before, but it ain't quick.
That guy's already kind of
probably
been
worse than
forgotten.
AIDS.
The cop that dude goes in front, pours gasoline all over himself, lights himself on fire, starts screaming, free Palestine, free Palestine. A cop comes up and pulls his gun on him. Like, what are you doing?
Don't worry, guys, I got it under control.
Welcome to America.
What's great is you can hear another guy yelling at him, and he's like, "Will you get fucking a fire extinguisher?" I got him under. Don't worry, it's got it under control.
Pepper sprays him.
Yeah,
Pepper spray.
Putting it out, but it burns.
dude, that's so wild.
Yeah.
To burn yourself alive for a conflict happening a world away.
Especially in today. Look, that would like in
this is the guy who look. I noticed a few minutes ago. Taylor said, "What are empathic people? People who aren't psychopaths." And then here he is. Who would burn themselves alive for those people dying on the other side of the world? No empathy whatsoever for the Palestinians. None. Okay,
You'd make a terrible ship's counselor.
You got me.
Clearly a Republican.
Also got him.
Dude, at least when those monks were doing it in fucking Cambodia or whatever, it was like, why are you doing this? Well, you're killing us right now. Here,
also,
like,
it was at a period
alive
of time where I didn't experience man-made horrors beyond my comprehension literally every 15 seconds. The guy lights himself on fire now. I'm like, oh, whatever. I watched a Chinese guy get wrapped around industrial machinery and spun to the ground 100 times. That was way worse.
Yeah,
that was. Dude, you spin yourself around a lathe for Palestine, then you get the eyeballs.
Yeah, I don't take it real seriously. I'd be like, oh my God. Dude, I watched that guy's limbs get whipped into the ground at 100 miles an hour.
We gotta do something. That was ghastly.
I can't take any more of that, Mr. President. Please.
If you set yourself on fire and jump into an industrial lathe, I'll go to Palestine tomorrow.
What if it was one of those, those compactors that's just two wheels with teeth spinning into each other that they throw like whole cars and barbecue grills into? I'd
be horrible.
I'd like to think it would be a quick death, but my luck, it would just like grate the flesh off me for a while. And my head would just like be in there spinning as it just like slowly took chunks of it.
They dispose of cows with those things.
Oh, I've seen it. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Actually, on second thought, it eats those cows quick.
Yeah, you would you'd have to jump head first. Like that's the only way to get that done.
I'm sure people have fallen into them.
Dude, it doesn't matter. You're going to die within 10 seconds. 5. Yeah. It's pretty quick.
A rough 5 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. What would you pick?
Head.
Yeah,
dive. I think it takes a while.
Remember Alabama, I think maybe put that guy to death with like nitrogen asphyxiation about a month ago. Would you rather take that untested, unproven method, or we throw you into old chomp?
Nitrogen. That's the easiest decision.
You can dive head first into the trash machine if you want.
Or will a lot of people watch it?
I mean, on 4chan.
Okay.
on Lively.
So you're saying I could be a recurring GIF on.
You know what the joke would be? The joke would be that your diving form was off, and it would just be like cartoons holding up like low numbers, like it was the Olympics as you died.
Yeah, I mean, nitrogen. Yeah.
Did you ever see this Onion video? This was my favorite Onion video ever. Ohio replaces lethal injection with a machine that rips your head off. This beautiful 3D rendered thing, and it's like it then grabs the prisoner's head and just
rips your head. Have you seen those
please do that. That's pretty great.
Those terrifying photos of it's like some 34-year-old woman who's like, I'm sad. I'm going to the Netherlands to be in the suicide pod. And then it's like them laying in a pod, giving a thumbs up as they're about to be killed.
Well, a lady just did that famously. A lady, she was tweeting the day she live streamed her last day. She's like, "Hey, let's have a little party," and everyone's like, "Oh my god, what horrible disease does she has that she wants to die?" And they're like, "Oh, chronic fatigue. She's just real sleepy all the time." And you're like, "Oh man, then she's gonna
little coffee could have saved that life."
There's a way around this.
At that point, if you're so fatigued you want to kill yourself, try every upper on earth. Try them all. What's the worst that happens? You get a hot shot of
What would you
Fent?
prescribe to her, Dr. Taylor?
Coke. A huge amount of cocaine. And then if she notices she has to shit very soon afterward, that's a lot of baby laxative in there. You need a better guy. So that's what she needs. A little bit of drugs. I mean, why not? If the alternative is going to Canada or fucking the Netherlands, I thought it was the Netherlands for some reason. Maybe I'm wrong. But going there and sitting in a pod and dying, Jesus.
You ever?
Do they do the pod still? I thought the pod was a proof of concept.
You mean you can kill someone anywhere? I guess.
Ever read about the suicide roller coaster concept?
Yes. Yeah.
Because they're like, listen, we want to be able to kill people, so we'll just design a roller coaster that reaches such a height that you just lose all oxygen when you get to the top of the loop, and then you're just dead coming back down. You don't even feel it.
I remember it being a lot of.
That's a ridiculous idea.
It was a lot of.
No, but it could work.
The point of it was that it was so many loops in a row.
Oh, so many loops. Yeah, that's what it was.
And they weren't apparently there's a way that roller coaster loops are made in an elongated way so that it puts less G's on your body. And this would be made in a way so it's maximizing the G's you're feeling. And so you would be loop after smaller or after bigger loop after, and just until you die.
You just need to be in a centrifuge and spun. You don't need a whole track and
or how many tall buildings do we already have?
Then there's there could be a ride. It could be Splash Mountain, characters are singing and shit.
You definitely can't take them to altitude.
Splash Mountain.
Hey, there you go. That looks fun.
A hypothetical euthanasia roller coaster. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Can you imagine the guy who came up with this? Where they're like, "You got to come up with something. They're going to cut our funding." He's like,
welcome to the Global Science Conference. We've just seen a man who can turn water into electricity. What do you have? A roller coaster that kills people.
I think I can
You're not allowed to
survive
be a
that roller
scientist
coaster.
anymore, sir.
Yeah, we're revoking your science
You're
card.
out of
You've used
here.
it for evil, for foolishness.
How
But,
have you guys? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna go ahead. You can take over.
Go for it.
Well, no, I was just going to ask you guys, like, how, because you guys don't seem to have gone down the audience capture route. Like, you seem to have, like, I feel like I'm talking to the same person I talked to like 8 years ago. Like, how have you guys avoided the trappings of that? Do you just not, I'm going to guess that you don't look at like the comments or your
Anything.
replies very often.
Very
No,
rarely
like,
do I look at any
our
comments. Yeah.
The only way I interact with fans is if they and it's is if they join our Patreon and they give us $50 a month, and then they join our Discord, and then I literally game with them all night and like shoot the shit with them. And the group of guys in there are awesome. I'll sort of lean on them for like if they thought a show was good or not. And sycophants that they are, they love everyone. They love everyone. They've never had a complaint, and they better not, because I'll stand.
I was liberal with that band.
They know I will. I'm liberal with the band hammer. No,
Like,
but
I really,
it's the opposite though. Like I feel like they'll be like, "What happened there?" And I'm like, "Look, we didn't book that guy. I don't know who booked that guy.
we didn't
just
know he
showed
was
up."
going to have a fried brain from the mushrooms. We didn't know. We just had him on.
Yeah,
I like that
sometimes-
guess.
Did you have somebody come on that was
Yeah.
tripping balls?
Yeah, he wasn't at the
Yeah.
time, but he had some.
We had a
He, was,
guest.
or he probably was. I'm so
So
naive.
this guy touted himself as some sort of a shaman per se. And basically his story was that he had this awful experience where his wife, who was pregnant with his unborn child, died in a car accident that he caused. And it ruined him to the extent where he sought out psychedelics, more and more potent doses of them to sort of get over that trauma. And my take is that while doing that, he fried his brain. And so then he's got this new wife, and he told us that he's like, so at this point in my life, my wife was saying, I'm going to murder the children. I'm going to take the gun. I have the gun, and I'm going to murder the children. So then I went on one of my retreats to the Dominican Republic and did mushrooms with some guys. And when we got back, I talked to her, and I had a whole new frame of mind. I'm paraphrasing, but
This
it was
is literally
basically that. And so and so I'm like, I'm doing this when I'm like, whoa. Your wife said she was going to murder the children, and she had the means, which means she's thought about this a good bit, went and gotten the gun. She has the gun, and you went to another country to do drugs. I love drugs, and travel's fun, and I hate kids. But my take is that you're a piece of shit, dude. How do you leave your kids behind with a murderer who's telling, like, are you insane? I didn't go that hard.
You just went there?
I went a little bit softer than that, and it devolved quickly. I may have been rude to him. You know, I smoke every show, and I don't really remember these things too well.
I enjoyed it.
But I think I was pretty mean to him, and he deserved
one in
it.
every 30, 50 guests, Kyle will decide, I've had enough of this guy. I'm not interested in his return, so I'm going to lay it down.
Sometimes they'll just be fucking liars. Like there's one guy, and look, I hate a fake badass. I'm not a badass. I don't want to get in a fight. I'm not good at it. I wouldn't be good at it if I tried. I'm not going to pretend like I will be or
Aren't you
want to
still
be.
ripped as fuck, or did that go
Yeah,
away?
I beat the shit out of you, bro. I'd smoke you. See? Now you see like
my arm up. You can't. I'll just keep you back. I got the long arms. So
He's got reach.
I'd
Yeah.
snap those in half with my jiu-jitsu training.
I'll box
Please.
his
ass.
You know about the
He'll be
UFC I watch?
slapping you.
I'm a real tough guy. I watch the UFC. I'm not. There are guys who are like what I'm like pretending to be, right? There are those douchebags.
Yeah.
yeah.
But we had a guy on who was like I can't remember what kind of badassery he was claiming he'd done, but he was like, yeah, my stepdad stabbed me, and I was like, oh, you stabbed me. And I ran away off into the woods, sewed it up myself, and I think I just went, no, you didn't. It was like that. It was like in Billy Madison when he's like, me and her got it on, and Adam Sandler's like, no, you didn't. Yeah, but this guy I knew, him and her did the thing. He's like, no, they didn't. Yeah, but you can imagine what it'd be like if they did.
That's a solid 30-year reference right there.
Yeah.
Or what, 25-year
Nailed it.
reference? Yeah.
8% of our audience, according to my made-up statistics, got that one.
I've seen that movie.
It's a great movie. So he's claiming that he got stabbed and that he stitched himself, and I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Show me the scar. Show me, bro. Show me where you got stabbed with a kitchen knife and pulled it out of your body and sewed it up yourself, because you fucking didn't. You fucking didn't.
Yeah. And that was absurd. But yeah, the mushroom one that's happened, Kyle will do that from time to time. But as far as like the audience retainer or whatever that was called, audience training,
Audience capture. Yeah.
Like it was probably 5-6 years ago now, and it was actually a Sam Hyde clip that I saw that like changed my perspective on it, because I used to like read comments a lot more, forums, all that, and I saw a video from him that was like him talking about that, and obviously he's a big figure, a lot of people talking about him, and he was like, everyone knows how negative it is and bad for your psyche to like read bad things about yourself online if you're a content guy. Like that's negative. But he also made the point of like, it's also almost as sinister and bad to read positive things about yourself. Like the whole idea of like sitting there reading about yourself is going to breed in you like a sort of unintended narcissism in one way or the other that is going to change you as a person.
And by the same rationale, by the same rationale that you would say, don't read that negative stuff. They don't know you. Don't read that positive stuff. They don't know you.
Yeah.
They don't know how full of shit you were when you said that thing, or that you were being charitable just because you felt like you had to, or like they don't know the pressures that you're under, or like or any of that stuff.
Well,
so, Taylor, you must have been super plugged in over the weekend. Your favorite person in the world came to the country, Bibi Netanyahu.
Vladimir Tarasenko. Oh,
okay. He spoke before Congress, and man, did they kiss his ass, Taylor? You'd have loved it. That Fetterman schlub, the guy who's been wearing like shorts and a hoodie for the last 4 years.
You want to know who rules over you? See who John Fetterman puts a suit on for.
That man was looking sharp. He must have had that thing tailored or something because it fit his fat ass. And they just sucked BB off for the whole time. One of the ladies from the squad, who I know you're a big fan of, Talib or something like that. She's the one that wears the turban, I think, often.
Omar, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. One of those awful people. She had like a sign that said something about genocide. So everybody else is standing clapping, and she's holding her genocide sign. So I know that probably won some love from you over. And then I saw that there was a crowd peacefully protesting outside, and they pulled down the American flags and burnt them while they all chanted, "Burn that shit."
Do you see the cop getting dragged around, or someone like ran?
Was he mutilated?
He was mutilated, dude. Mutilated.
Was there a cop getting dragged around? I actually didn't see
that. He was like trying to stop one fight, and then like someone grabbed him, was yanking him around. The cop didn't look big enough, and I think it might have been a girl cop. Another tally in favor of we need big, heavy, strong boys in positions as police officers. Can't have girls doing it. I'm sorry, everyone. Girls can go do all sorts of important jobs, finger painting.
I'm normally a news junkie, and I'd be tied in on this, seeing every video, but I have a newfound Elden Ring addiction, so I'm a little off the grid.
When we talk about gaming later, I want to revisit that.
Okay.
Scott, did you watch any of these bad eggs causing problems yesterday?
I saw a couple of things on Twitter, them pulling down the flags and stuff like that. I didn't know about that cop getting dragged. You know, that's pretty crazy. Mutilated.
Sorry, Hutch. It's just fun.
Hutch was so Hutch. I don't know if I wish we had asked the audience to vote who they thought won the argument, Hutch or Dick Masterson. Clearly, Hutch won every single engagement they had, but like in reality. But I bet it didn't feel like that to some people. But yeah, back to the flag thing. I was thinking about this earlier as I talked to myself a lot. Probably too much. And I was thinking about how there are aspects of the Second Amendment that people try to sort of pick away at, whether it's universal background checks or whatever. And I don't like that. And I feel the same way about the First Amendment. So I despise those flag burning people. I kind of, when I watch them do it, the reptilian part of my brain wants some big fucker to like come out of nowhere and blindside them. Remember those commercials with like the linebacker, the office linebacker, and if you were like flirting with a girl at the water cooler, he'd come and like blindside you, knock the fuck out. I wanted that to happen. I want them to get hurt. I want them to accidentally set themselves on fire while they're doing it. That would be wonderful. But at the same time, that's the whole point of the First Amendment. They've got the right to burn that fucking flag. If there's some ordinance about starting fires in the park, that's a different story. But if anything,
really is. There's no way that slipped past the goalie for this many years.
It seems like they stole that. In that instance, they stole a flag and destroyed it. And probably in a place where you're not allowed to make small fires of any kind. So they probably broke 2 or 3 little laws. But as far as like a law against burning the flag, I'm not up for that. I don't. You burn it if you want to.
But if you sneeze on a trans flag, you're going to jail for a few years.
That's a different story. That's a hate crime, sir. That's hate crime legislation. We send you to a special prosecutor for that. Guess who picks him?
I'm with. Actually, I agree with like every syllable what Kyle said. I hate it with all my heart. I do also think there shouldn't be any law against it. And I also see it from another side where the flag burners are always like more blue team than red team, right? I don't see very many Republicans burning flags at all. So I'm like, you fucks are making us look bad. Would you just stop? Yeah. Like, if you want to be anti-supporting Israel, I can get on board with that. I can see arguments for the U.S. not getting themselves in this war. I get it. But why are you burning the U.S. flag as a way to make your point? That's a bad look. You're not convincing people.
And it's not compelling because they're the same people that Scott's right. Like if at that same protest, someone like burned a gay flag, they would be like calling the cops to have that person arrested for being hateful. Like they're like safe edgy. And they're burning the American flag. How crazy. That's so wild. You're going to get in so much. Oh no, you're not. Like it's ridiculous. And it's disgusting to see. I don't like it. Like,
I don't like it.
We're American,
but that's not the question, right?
You should be able to,
like it.
Just like you should be able to burn the gay flag if that's what you want to do without going to jail.
If it's yours, yeah, you can't. I'm pretty sure if I burnt my own gay flag, then nothing would happen to me.
Probably.
I think
depends where you want.
I think we're just making this up. Like, no one would actually call the cop. Like, nothing would happen.
I mean, people have gotten arrested for like driving, like burning out over the gay crosswalks.
Well, that's different.
That's not the same as burning your own property or like,
they'd have gotten arrested no matter what was painted on those crosswalks.
Really?
They're reckless driving out there. They're doing donuts in the intersection, Taylor. Like, I don't know why we painted.
You don't think that's cool?
Look, frankly, I don't know why we're painting the road with the LGBTQ fucking flag. It's paint it white and yellow so we can see that shit. What are you doing? Why is there
white? Why not black?
Jesus, Kyle, exactly. Why aren't crosswalks black, huh?
Because black absorbs light and white reflects.
Wow, get a load of this, not this Hitler we have. A regular Hitler.
But that is why they're burning the flag.
I think the stoplights should be black.
They see see the United States inviting someone who they view as a literal Hitler in Bibi Netanyahu, someone who's engineering this genocide of 65,000 people or something now, and is doing his best to annex land, and I could be wrong about this. I don't follow their politics, but wasn't his referendum or whatever his like time in office up, but he's extended it because of we're at war or whatever.
Yes.
Didn't he avoid prosecution of some sort?
That's why he's staying in power, and that's also why he let's just say he at least has a good reason to keep this war going on and on and on. Because maybe when the war ends, he loses power, and maybe when he loses power, he goes to jail. So on the other side, these people are saying they're people being. I've seen some rough shit. I've seen a bunch of burn up kids, man. And like, not just like 4th degree, like, why don't you just cut those legs off kind of burns? And if you're seeing that shit and you're feeling that, then I could definitely see why you might want to burn a flag when we invite that guy, roll out the red carpet, and then all of our politicians fucking bend over. At least we didn't have Kamala wheel out the Israeli flag like she did for Ukraine, like, and stand behind Zelensky.
I can get what you're saying, and like I switch back and forth between like boomer conservative, like if they did that around me, I'd put it like, and also like, whatever, it's just a flag. But like my issue is it's not just the politicians that they are yelling death to America for. It's not the concept of America. It's literally like in their heads, like we're all tax-paying Americans. At least on record, we're tax-paying Americans, and fucking like because we pay our taxes at gunpoint, mind you, we're adding to the genocide, and it's like this. Like, what else do you want me to do? They'll fucking shoot me if I don't.
Yeah, they'll throw me in prison if I don't pay my taxes. I have no control over what they're going to use the money for. Like, it's not going to be spent on stuff we want.
You can just say I voted for the other guy. Okay, Donald Trump would not be funding this this war. It's far too expensive.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That man knows how to pinch a penny. Okay, and if anything, he'd be like,
none of this is.
That's why he and Bibi are so close.
Oh, the truth hurts, doesn't it, Woody? He would. If
the
anything,
truth would
Donald,
feel great. This hurts.
If anything, Donald would make a deal with Bibi Netanyahu, and he's like, "Look, if you're going to annex, what is it, 950 square miles? How about we get half? How about you give half of it to us? How about I get to build my resorts there? How about we put American properties there? How about I put a few bases over there? I'd love a new base in the Middle East."
Just doesn't tie in with his record, Kyle. His silliness.
Oh my God, he's a 4D chess playing mastermind running the world. They show him at the G20 and everybody's plotting, and he's just sitting there masterminding, pinky in the brain style.
Like trying to stand in front of people, bumping shoulders with them.
Oh, that was alpha as fuck. When he knocked the fucking Duke of Belgium out the fucking way. It's like, what do you think you're doing, Duke?
I'm sorry, your lordship.
Belgian
Trump
Duke.
is like, pay attention to me. I want to be the cool kid.
He's representing us, all right? And the last thing I want is some panty-waisted pussy who's like letting the Duke of Belgium cut in line in front of him and stand in front of the picture and like throw up Belgian gang signs, whatever that shit looks like.
That's so true. That's all happened.
You know what? This is how it happened. It's not another fucking fever dream.
No, it's totally true.
I seen it happen. You roll the footage, Zach. Trump's like alpha as fuck coming. He throws on some sun. It's cool as shit. Did you see? Look, he has looked pathetic. He has looked petty. He has looked arrogant. He has looked ignorant.
Matt.
But this was not one of those instances. When he saluted the North Korean general, throw that one at me. I got nothing for that shit. But when he bumped,
did you see how many medals the guy had? He was a war hero.
Yeah, it's true. But if he won those medals legitimately, that means he killed Americans winning them.
He earned them all in one battle.
Yeah,
like
a really busy Thursday.
He's been fighting us since MASH was on. It's the 1950s when the Korean War was.
Yeah. Did you see during the Netanyahu speech? Every time Netanyahu comes into town, the American politicians are like seals, like giving so many standing ovations. It's frankly humiliating. And at one point, Netanyahu got like peeved at how much they were applauding him, like Stalin-esque applause, like they didn't want to sit down and be the first one seen not applauding. And Netanyahu's like, stop applauding, listen. Like the way you would talk to like children if you were a teacher, like, hey, bitches, hey, you're all my bitches. Remember that? Shut up and let me talk. This is about me right now and about you doing what I want.
Yeah, another alpha. Like I get why you like him. You don't have to sell me on Bibi Netanyahu.
My favorite guy.
He commands a room. That's what you want in a despotic leader.
Yeah, he commands an enormous amount of foreign politicians, seemingly.
Yeah, Taylor, I agree. I wish I knew the mechanics of why Netanyahu got so much respect, and it's seemingly like universal. Everybody except Ilhan Omar. Like there's probably two other exceptions. I'm
like, you killed my cousin.
yeah.
It's just like it's just like
not even a blue-red
lobbying.
thing. Like it's a U.S. government thing. And my theory is that, you give aid to Israel and they give campaign contributions back. And I think it was Hutch who said AIPAC is not a big contributor, but I don't know. I can't prove it. I don't have any real facts, but I'm like, why are we so fucking lined up?
AIPAC is an enormously powerful political entity, and they donate to.
But why are they?
Because they give money to politicians.
Okay, then why don't other people just give money to politicians and become incredibly powerful? Like the argument doesn't work. And I'm not saying it's not wrong to some extent, but like, why isn't there a group from fucking Ireland that's just getting their asses kissed over there? Like they don't have the money? Some countries do. How much money does Israel have, and where did they get it?
Let me reply, because the NRA is very, very powerful, but they don't contribute a lot of money to politicians. I think what the NRA brings is a lot of voters. When the NRA says, this is our guy, this is his rating on guns, people look at that and change their vote. I have to imagine that there's something like that happens in AIPAC too, that it's not just dollars, it's influence.
But you've never seen it. I've never seen the AIPAC come and like tell my voting bloc that, hey, this guy's 2.5 stars, and they're blue Israeli stars. It says 2.5 stars of David. He's not cutting it these days. He's not cutting the mustard. And
like that's the thing though, is how many politicians have you seen who've been like, actually, no, I want to cut aid to Israel?
That's true. None. Just Ilhan Omar or whatever.
Yeah, just like two. You're right. Like they clearly are very entrenched in our political process.
And they obviously have a bias. All lobbying organizations do. So you like don't have to guess like, why are these politicians who are taking money from AIPAC, doing stuff pro-Israel? I don't know. The same reason the ones that take money from the NRA do stuff pro-gun. Like they're going to do that. That's what their job is. They're buyable and sellable to the highest bidder. Right here, Politico, AIPAC is biggest source of GOP dominations GOP donations during Dem primaries. GOP dominations. They do seem to dominate the GOP. Yeah, they're enormously big in how much they donate. And to the Democrats too. It's not just to the
I was about to say, then why are the Democrats why is Fetterman in a suit? Right? If it's that it seems to be bipartisan bending over.
That suit shit's embarrassing, honestly. Like I don't care about the applause. That's just good manners.